In 2019, Dubai announced a brand new project, the Burj Jumeirah. This tower would have been one of the tallest buildings in the entire world, a magnificent landmark to enrich the city's famous skyline. But just a year after the plans were announced, the project suddenly vanished. What happened to this massive skyscraper, and why was it abandoned? In this video, we'll explore the mysterious story of the Burj Jumeirah. So what is the Burj Jumeirah? The initial plans for this ambitious project were unveiled in January 2019. They showed a 550-meter tower at the heart of downtown Jumeirah. The exterior was inspired by the harmonious ripples of desert dunes and included digital displays that would pulse and glow with light. Inside the tower, visitors could experience sky lounges and sky restaurants with sweeping views over Dubai. The uppermost floors would be known as the Crown and host extravagant parties and events. A striking feature of the tower's design was the vertical void that ran down the middle of the building. This void would provide some panoramic views. In a normal skyscraper, the windows are all on the outside of the building, but in the Burj Jumeirah, thousands of windows would line the inside too. The void would also improve the views of people on the ground. They could see the sky through the heart of the tower, and at just the right angle, other famous landmarks such as the Burj Khalifa. Another iconic element of the Burj Jumeirah's design could be seen in the tower's foundations. The stretch of land at the base of the tower was styled to match the fingerprint of Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Dubai's current ruler, and the tower's main supporter. This fingerprint was meant to symbolize the Sheikh's influence on the modern state. All of these details were announced in a whirl of publicity. It started with a short viral video, which announced that the future is far more spectacular than you think. This video flashed through a series of images, including a spectacular fountain, a base jumper leaping off the side of the tower, and staggering views of Dubai. The video was accompanied by press releases from Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, the architects behind the project, and Dubai Holding, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid's personal investment company. On their website, Dubai Holding proudly declared the development will be delivered in 2023. 4 years later, 2023 has finally arrived, and everyone is asking the same question: where is the Burj Jumeirah? Before we answer that, Burj Jumeirah. The proposed site for the Burj Jumeirah is a plot of land across the road from the famous Mall of the Emirates and a short walk from the Burj Al Arab. In 2019, after the original announcement, some construction work took place. Satellite images show the initial outline of the Sheikh's fingerprint, with construction vehicles and a track connecting it to the Sheikh Zayed Road. But in 2020, the construction vehicles vanished from the site, and the initial outline of the Sheikh's fingerprint has been gathering dust ever since. In 2023, when this tower was supposed to be open to the public, the site is still completely deserted. At the same time that the tower's construction was abandoned, less than a year after the tower's original announcement, Dubai Holding wiped the project from its website. They did not put out a press release to announce that the tower was on hold or cancelled. They simply deleted the page from their website, as though it had never been there at all. The project architects, Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, didn't offer an explanation either. They have not publicly commented on the Burj Jumeirah since the original plans were announced. So what happened to the project? There's one obvious explanation. The project was abandoned at the start of 2020, which is the same time that the COVID pandemic first started. The pandemic hit economies around the world, and Dubai was no exception. Other major projects were also put on hold at this time, including the colossal Dubai Creek Tower, an observation tower that was aiming to become the tallest structure on Earth. But it might be more complicated than that. At the end of 2020, the chairman of the company behind Dubai Creek Tower, Mohammed Alabar, said, "We don't build anymore. The government entities decided to stop new developments almost a year back, but COVID definitely put the brakes on." In other words, while the pandemic didn't help the situation, the decision to put this tower on hold was made significantly earlier. One of the reasons for this is the fact that prices of homes and offices throughout Dubai have been plummeting since 2014. It's basic supply and demand. As more and more properties are built in the region, it's harder to keep prices high. Cutting back on development projects and restricting supply is the easiest way to get the market going again. But if the Burj Jumeirah is also on hold until the property market settles down again, why did the companies behind it not release an official statement? Mohammed Alabar at Emaar Properties was transparent about the fate of the Dubai Creek Tower. Other development companies working on similar projects also made public statements, but Dubai Holding just deleted the Burj Jumeirah from their website, as though they wanted to pretend that the plans had never even existed. Might there still be another layer to all of this? The piece of land where the Burj Jumeirah was meant to be built has also seen a number of other failed constructions in the last few years, all of them coming from the people at Dubai Holding. In 2012, they announced a plan to build the Mall of the World, the largest shopping center on the planet, on the exact same site as later the Burj Jumeirah. But this plan was quickly abandoned. A few years later, it was replaced by another project proposal by the name of Jumeirah Central. This was also meant to be a giant shopping center with an initial budget of about $20 billion. But again, it wasn't long until the Jumeirah Central was abandoned. At the same time, a number of key executives left Dubai Holding. This included Morgan Parker, the chief operating officer, who handed in an official resignation. It's impossible to know what went on behind the scenes, but for whatever reason, the management team at Dubai Holding doesn't seem to agree on the future direction of this construction site in downtown Jumeirah. First, they abandoned the Mall of the World. Next, they abandoned Jumeirah Central. Now, they abandoned the Burj Jumeirah. Maybe this site will never be home to a finished project. But could people lose interest in Dubai if megaprojects keep getting cancelled and abandoned? This is a genuine concern for the state as a whole, which relies so heavily on hype and publicity to draw tourists and investors to the region. If projects like the Burj Jumeirah and Dubai Creek Tower are repeatedly cancelled, people will start to expect the same from future projects. The next publicity video about an ambitious new plan won't gain any traction. It's hard to get excited about a project if you know that the project will probably never be built. About 15 years ago, Dubai went through a similar period when many of its projects were abandoned. A lot of these were super tall skyscrapers, just like the Burj Jumeirah. One of these super tall skyscrapers to be cancelled in the past was the Dynamic Tower. Designs for this project were first unveiled in 2006 amid a wave of hype and publicity. Each floor of the tower was designed to rotate independently of the others, allowing the entire building to change its shape. But the project was abandoned in the wake of the global financial crisis, which hit the world between 2007 and 2010. Another super tall skyscraper, Pentaminium, suffered the exact same fate. It's been officially on hold since 2011, with 22 floors already built, but another 100 floors are missing, which were never even started. The financial crisis also struck down a number of proposals for megatall skyscrapers in Dubai. A building by the name of One Dubai was meant to dominate the skyline in Jumeirah Garden City, with a height of at least 600 meters, but it was officially abandoned in 2010. Meanwhile, Nakheel Tower was supposed to be taller than the Burj Khalifa, at a height of almost 1,500 meters. This would have made it the first ever building to exceed 1 kilometer in height, a threshold that still hasn't been broken. But it was also abandoned at a similar time to the others. It simply wasn't affordable to build such an ambitious, expensive tower in a period of global economic decline. In 2009, a report found that almost 60 projects were affected in Dubai, and most of these are still on hold today. These cancellations led to a loss of confidence in relation to projects in Dubai. Investors began to shy away from future construction, while tourists lost interest in these announcements. But in 2010, something happened which saved Dubai's reputation. The Burj Khalifa officially opened and caught the attention of the world.
Tonight was a finale for a building that began 6 years ago.
Ironically, this also almost didn't happen. The entire project was on the verge of collapse, just like all the others, until Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the then president of the United Arab Emirates, agreed to provide an $80 billion loan. Before his intervention, the tower was known as the Burj Dubai, but the name was changed to reflect Khalifa's support. As the tallest building in human history, the Burj Khalifa drew tourists from countries all around the world. People quickly forgot about abandoned projects like Nakheel Tower and Pentaminium because they had the Burj Khalifa to admire instead. Construction projects began to boom again, with super tall skyscrapers like the Princess Tower and Marina 23 appearing just a few years later. And this could all be relevant to the latest wave of project cancellations, including the Dubai Creek Tower and the Burj Jumeirah. As things stand, tourists and investors are losing confidence and interest. With each cancellation, the next announcement will generate a lot less hype. But it would only take one groundbreaking project, like the Burj Khalifa in 2010, to reignite the interest of the world. Do you still feel excited when Dubai announces its latest megaprojects?